My guests tonight are 40% of the Jackson 5. Jackie Jackson at 20, the oldest of the group, and Michael Jackson, 12, the youngest and the lead singer. Michael, Jackie, that sounds good. You're very welcome here. I'm sorry we couldn't get 100% of the Jackson 5 here. We just didn't have room around the table for all of them. You were really discovered by Mayor Richard Hatcher, Gary, your hometown. Tell that story briefly, how you made it.
Well, Gary, Mayor Richard Hatcher, we gave a benefit show, and Diana Ross was one of his guests, you know. So we entertained for the show, you know, and we did our thing on stage. And after the show was over, she came backstage and told us how good we were, and she would like to take us to Motown. And so
the recording company.
Right. So we went to Motown Recording Company and Berry Gordy and all the staff, you know.
Everything happened from there. When was that?
Well, it was about 2 years ago.
Diana Ross gets the credit for discovering the Jackson 5. In fact, it was Gladys Knight who advised the boys to talk to Berry Gordy in order to sign them at Motown in 1967. If you don't know who Berry Gordy is, check out my last video, The Untold Story of Berry Gordy. Gladys Knight sent a demo of the Jackson 5 to Gordy, but he returned the tape because Motown already had a young star called Little Stevie Wonder. He could do everything. He played different instruments, he sang, and he wrote music at only 11 years old. Gladys Knight didn't succeed in making Motown and Berry Gordy listen to the group and sign them. It was Bobby Taylor that brought the family group to Motown after they opened for the Vancouvers in Chicago. After the opening, Bobby Taylor was amazed by the Jacksons, especially with the lead singer, a child named, obviously, Michael. He then told Michael and his brothers that he wanted them to audition for Motown in Detroit. That's where Bobby Taylor lived, and he started to coach the group for the audition. Even though Gladys Knight discovered the boys, without the intervention of Bobby Taylor, they may have never signed to Motown.
Marshall asked me to go and look at this kid that was on stage at the time I walked in. And I went up there, and that was this little bitty guy about like that. And he was spinning around like James Brown. Ooh, hey, ooh. I said, dang. I said, send him up to the dressing room. We won a talent contest in Gary, Indiana. And he says, and we went on the show and we met Gladys Knight on that show. And she said, you boys are good. I'm going to get you to Motown, he said, and we never heard from her again. I said, okay, tell you what, you want to go with Motown? I said, I'll take you there and I'll get you signed. And that's how it started.
Bobby Taylor went all out for them and broke a lot of rules to try to get them to record, and he made it. He should have been credited for their first album and the hit single I Want You Back, but all the credit went back to Diana Ross, who had nothing to do with their discovery and the production of the album. Today, we know for sure that it's Bobby Taylor we need to thank for helping the Jackson 5 make it. After he died in 2017, Jermaine Jackson acknowledged that Mr. Taylor put the group on the path and worked with them on their first album and produced it, and Berry Gordy himself said that Bobby Taylor came with the Jackson 5 to Motown Studios, and his assistant Susan DePass first heard about the Jackson 5 through Bobby Taylor, and that's how he learned about them too. It's after the audition that Berry Gordy finally signed them.